Okay, so some of you wanted to see a few more examples of graphing the three different kind of quadratic equations by finding the line of symmetry, the vertex, and the x and y intercepts. Okay, each type of equation gives you a little bit different information. This is called the standard form. The standard form is the ax squared plus bx plus c form. And when you have the standard form, one way to identify that is that you've got the three different terms right here where you can easily identify what the a, b, and c are. When you look at other equations, if you can't tell what the a, b, and c are really easily and quickly, then you do not have the standard form. When you have the standard form, the thing that is the easiest to tell immediately is the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is equal to the value of c, which here is equal to -5. Then I'm going to go through and find my line of symmetry. My line of symmetry is found by finding the opposite of b divided by 2a. Let me get this in focus so it will, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to find the line of symmetry, which is x equals the opposite of b divided by 2a. Here is a, here is b, here is c. Okay, so I'm going to have the opposite of 4 divided by 2 times -2. So I'm going to have the opposite of 4 divided by -4, and that's going to be +1. So our line of symmetry is at x equals 1. So that means I can plot in my line of symmetry. Then I can go ahead and find my vertex. So I'm going to use 1 as my input, and I'm going to have to calculate the y value. So I have y equals -2x squared plus 4x minus 5, and I'm using 1 as my input. So -2 times 1 squared plus 4 times 1 minus 5. Okay, and let's see. 1 squared is going to be 1. That's going to be -2 plus 4 is going to be +2. Minus 5 is going to be -3. Okay, so my vertex is at 1 comma -3. So 1 comma -3 is right here. And then finally, I'm going to find my x-intercepts. So I'm going to use the formula x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. So what I like to do is just this whole big part first. So I say b squared minus 4ac is going to be equal to 4 squared minus 4 times -2 times -5. And that's going to be 16, that's going to be 8, that's going to be -40 is -24. Okay, and then the square root of all of that, b squared minus 4ac, is going to be the square root of -24, but I cannot take the square root of a negative number, so there are no x-intercepts. Okay, so I have the line of symmetry I already did. I already had my vertex. My y-intercept was at -5. Since this is a mirror image, like the line creates a mirror image. If I have this point 1 to the left, then I have its mirror image 1 to the right. And I did not have any y-intercepts. And so this u is going to look like this. Okay, and then I just am going to repeat the process for number 2 and number 3. First thing I can tell is that the y-intercept is at 16. And then I'll find the line of symmetry at x equals the opposite of b divided by 2a, which is going to be the opposite of 12 divided by 2 times 2. So that's going to be -12 over 4, which is equal to -3. So my vertex is going to be at -3, but then I need to calculate the y value. So I have y equals 2 times -3 squared plus 12 times -3 plus 16. So -3 squared is 9, and 9 times 2 is 18, minus 36 plus 16. So 18 minus 36 is -18, and -18 plus 16 is -2. So when x equals -3, y is equal to -2. So my vertex is at -3, comma -2. Okay, so my line of symmetry was at -3. And my vertex is at -3, comma -2. My y-intercept was at 16. That's way over here. So that's off the graph. I'm not even going to put that on there. And then I still need to try to see if there are any x-intercepts. So I've got my little quadratic formula. I like to do the b squared minus 4ac part first. So here that is going to be 12 squared minus 4 times 2 times 16. It's going to be 144 minus 8 times 16 is 128. 144 minus 128 is 16. And then I'm going to take the square root of the b squared minus 4ac. So that is taking the square root of 16, which is just 4. Okay, so I'm going to have the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of, all right, I'll just go ahead and fill this in. Ba-da-da-da-da. Okay, so the opposite of b, so b was 12. So the opposite of 12 plus or minus, I already figured all of that part out. That turned out to be 4 divided by 2 times a. A is 2, so 2 times 2 is 4. So then I'm either going to have -12 plus 4 divided by 4, or I'm going to have -12 minus 4 divided by 4. So -8 divided by 4 is -2. And -16 divided by -4, I'm sorry, -16 divided by 4 is -4. So my x-intercepts are at -2 and -4. Okay, so at -2 and at -4. Okay, and then the last one, let me see how I'm doing time-wise. Okay, the last one, the y-intercept is at 7. The line of symmetry is at x equals the opposite of b divided by 2a. Well, a is 1, b is 4, and c is 7. Okay, so I'm going to have the opposite of 4 divided by 2 times 1. So -4 divided by 2, -2. So that means my vertex is at -2, but I have to calculate this part. So I have y equals x squared plus 4x plus 7, which is going to be -2. Notice the parentheses around there. If you put that in the calculator this time without parentheses, you're going to get a negative number, and that's not what it's supposed to be. 4 times -2 and 7. So 4 minus 8 plus 7. Let's see, that's -1. That's going to be 3. So the vertex is at -2, comma 3. Okay, so I have the line of symmetry at -2. I have the vertex at -2, 3. I have the y-intercept at 7. I know that this is 1, 2 away on the right and 1, 2 away on the left. I'll have its mirror image. And if you look at this, you can tell that this is going to have a minimum. It's going to open up. And if this is a minimum, then I'm not even going to bother to figure out the x-intercepts because clearly this is not going to cross the x-axis. I could go through and figure it out for you, but I could tell you right now that what would happen is when I went through and I did this b squared minus 4ac, that's going to equal a negative number. And therefore, when I take the square root of it, it's going to be a no, I can't take the square root of a negative number. So this will have no x-intercepts.